Hello, the internet, and welcome to today's Hangout on Air about AdWords ads. The title of today's presentation is Creative That Clicks, Optimizing Search Ad Copy to Improve Relevance. My name is Sean Quadlin, a product marketing manager here at Google, focusing specifically on SEM best practices. Joining me today, my boss, Ben Chung.
Hi everyone, Ben Chung, SEM team lead for best practices.
Yeah, thank you for joining me today, Ben. Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to have a lot of fun learning about ads, how to make the most of them. And so Ben, kick it off for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So this whole topic of search ad copy optimization is one that often daunts a lot of first-time advertisers. They're often a little bit stressed out by the fact that they only have so much space to convey their messaging and to engage users. So with only 25 characters in the headline, 35 characters in each of the description lines, and 35 characters in the display URL line, search advertisers don't have a whole lot of space to really convey that messaging. So this presentation is really all about making sure that you're doing everything you can to get the most out of your creative. And really, better creative means more relevant messaging, and more relevant messaging typically means higher quality scores, and that usually means better returns on your ad spend. So to help you all with that, we're going to roll out 9 best practices, and I'll start with the first one you see here, tying creative to keywords. So this is a simple one, very easy to action, and it's very effective simply because users tend to engage with ads that seem very relevant to what they just searched for. And so by tying in the actual keywords that the user searched for, you can actually start to see some improvements in engagement. And this is actually commonly held wisdom. We realize that, but we here at Google, we're able to study the effects of this using internal data. And you can see here with regards to how keywords are being tied into various parts of the search ad, that we do see some material lift in click-through rates.
Yeah, and it's always great to just back the stuff up that everyone tells you to do with actual numbers.
That's right.
It's like seeing stats about not brushing your teeth every day, and that's a problem. And so another step of writing great ads, just in that limited real estate that Ben was talking about, is having something that's unique and just having one of those things in each ad. I think it's really important to just focus on something specific. Make it one unique selling point. And sometimes it may not be unique to your service, but it could just be unique to that space. You may be the only advertiser who's actually talking about that. So just an example, someone who's not focusing on something here, the custom t-shirts, ship free, they got 4 or 5 things going on just in that little set of body copy.
Yeah, it's really impressive, but maybe not too effective.
Yeah.
I think that you have the 6 calls to actions over there.
Ooh, 6. Probably too many, probably 5 too many. So a stronger ad, in our opinion, is something that really focuses. So design your own t-shirts and creating your own designs based on these number of templates, and it's just really focused. It connects something to a user, and then you can actually test that later on down the road. So think about things like prices, discounts, product names. What makes it special? What makes you unique, even in that space?
And when you do control your messaging like that, you also are able to basically control for the kinds of users that eventually land on your landing page. So you can have a lot of confidence that people who do click through on a very focused ad are more likely to be a self-qualified and more qualified visitor to your site, more likely to convert. All right, so a couple more tips on just writing simple and compelling copy. The first is the display URL has often been overlooked by search advertisers as kind of that mundane piece of information where you're just porting over your URL and placing that into your search ad copy. This is actually a very important thing to take advantage of. You can essentially see it as a vanity URL. That's one thing that a lot of advertisers fail to realize is you can actually shape the messaging of your display URL. So in the previous example that you saw with the custom tees, a good use of that display URL real estate could be advertiser.com/custom tees. And another tip you might try is to really start to highlight your brand with official site or trademarks or other kinds of markers that indicate that this ad is an officially endorsed piece of messaging from your company. And obviously, I think with larger companies and more well-known brands, this is going to be key. But we found that even with smaller known brands, this kind of strategy has actually been shown to pay off with some modest click-through rate improvements too. And then the last one, I know this one you kind of cringe at because Sean here is an English major.
Breaks my heart. I hate this one.
But I'm going to give it to you guys anyways because we've seen good data that shows that this is really effective. Ads with title case capitalization actually do help to lift click-through rates by a good amount. So make sure you do that as well.
Yeah, people kind of expect it at a certain point, so just do it. It works. It's sad. It still happens and is effective. So a lot of times, mobile searchers, they have different ads because there's just a different experience on a phone. Before I came to Google, I actually had never had a smartphone before, and so I'd heard this.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, isn't it weird? I still have my flip phone. All right, guys, it's like an antique at this point. But a mobile phone is just different, and so you can do things, really almost simple things, just to make it better for mobile searchers. So have mobile preferred ads, because mobile performance, even if it's the same ad text, may be different. You may just have different winners in your ad text. Have mobile calls to action. You know, you can call. You're doing different things on a phone, so factor that into your ads. And then when you're connecting with those mobile users, send them to a mobile optimized landing page. Just have them have a good experience when they get to your site. And then Ben was just talking about this, but I think it's often overlooked. You know, you have 4 different things to highlight in an ad. Display URL is one of those 4 things, sometimes just overlooked way too much. And so just saying, oh, I have a phone site, I have a mobile site, something like that's just a really small indicator, but sometimes that's just enough to get the click, which is exactly what you're looking for. So just let users know that they're going to have that superior experience that they just expect nowadays.
So another piece of advice we'd like to give advertisers with regards to optimizing their creatives is actually one related to their landing page. So you can imagine a user searches for something and they see some promise in your particular ad. When they come finally to your landing page, there's a promise in their mind. So the landing page is a big part of this equation in getting your advertiser bought off on the relevance that you promised in the ad. So make sure that whatever calls to action that you had on your ad is mirrored somewhat on your landing page. So here in this example on the slide, we see over to the left the ad on a barbecue sauce, and there's a prominent link for finding a store nearby. So you can imagine a customer who clicks on that store locator link directly from the search ad should expect to see a landing page, just like the advertiser's done over to the right-hand side, a very focused experience that is delivered exactly what the user is looking for. In this case, a nearby place to find some barbecue sauce.
Yeah, and it seems simple. It seems like, oh, everyone should know that. But sometimes you just forget that. And you have all these pages, all these ads. So just make sure that you're connecting that user experience.
That's right.
All right, another thing that is just even more important nowadays because of the updates to AdRank last year, but use ad extensions. If you just look at these 2 ads here, LendingTree.com is using ad extensions. The other one isn't. So these 2 advertisers have the same set of options available to them, but look how much different the real estate is between these 2. So one, call extensions. They have social annotations. They have review extensions. They have site links. It just goes on and on. It's just a very different ad, and all these things cost the same. They're all available to everybody, so just use them. Not only is it better for users, it's also better for you because you're just going to have a better ad rank because now ad extensions are part of ad rank. So give those users useful info, and then just get your messages noticed. You can do so much more. Just think about the different perspective that you can have on these 2 companies right on the results page. Ad extensions are very important, often overlooked as well.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback on what Sean said about ad extensions, we were also able to do an internal analysis across all of the advertisers that had been using ad extensions, and we'd seen, on average, the overall click-through rate boosts that ad extensions have on the ads themselves, whether it's using site links, call extensions, or even location extensions. So in addition to just giving you guys a bigger visual footprint to your ads, and also offering users more choices with how to engage your business, we've observed some material increases in click-through rates as well.
And it's always great. You know, you hear these things, oh, you should do this. It makes sense to you, but then seeing the numbers again, it's like what search marketing's about. You just want things to back it up.
That's right.
So talking even more about numbers, what a segue. We got some numbers here about ad testing. Ad testing, back in the days when I was a full-time account manager, was just such a huge pain point. There are so many ad groups, there's so many tests going on, and it's just a lot to manage. And so one best practice that we picked up on is just prioritize those tests. Base them off of your volume. Don't just have 8 ads in all of your ad groups as a matter of course. Do things logically. Make it, break down your groups, know what's high volume, high priority, and then just kind of optimize according to that size. Instead of looking at this very, kind of difficult to comprehend graph, if you just focus on the high impact stuff, what can you do, Ben?
Yeah, so for example, in the previous slide you saw probably what's the typical portfolio of ad groups for any given search advertiser. It's just overwhelming. And so once you start to whittle it down by volume of impressions, then you can start to see, perhaps by conversion rate or by click-through rate, maybe identifying which ads are underperforming from a click-through rate or conversion rate rather. Which ad groups can you drill down into, and which areas are going to be good ones for you to affect some optimizations? And so really starting with those high volume, that high volume threshold, and really diving in either on a conversion rate basis or click-through rate basis could be a very strategic way to focus your optimization efforts.
Absolutely, and you can learn lessons from other ad groups and apply them to your smaller stuff. So even if a test hasn't reached statistical significance, you can still say, oh, it won this ad group, so it's probably going to win this one too, because the keywords are similar and all that. So it's just kind of a good overall view of it.
Absolutely.
And since testing is so difficult, I think being organized is really the key to getting ahead of that, just being the best ad tester that you can be. So we talked about this a bit ago, but having high volume ad groups, maybe using that for your different ad variations, keeping the ad variations a lot smaller if you have a lower impression volume. Limit what you're testing. You know, if you have a bunch of different stuff going on all the time, like maybe your display URL, maybe you're going to get a bunch of wins from that. But if you're also testing a new headline and new description line 1 and 2, you're not going to know that. You're not going to really know anything. You're just going to have one ad that wins, one ad that doesn't, but you don't really learn, kind of have a narrative from that. And just to do that, AdWords labels are great. I love AdWords labels. They're super fun. They also add a lot of color to the interface. So if you're looking for the potpourri visually, why not add some labels? And then ad settings, optimize for clicks or conversions. So something that I didn't really understand before I kind of got to Google is that if you're optimizing for conversions, it's not just looking at your conversion rate. It's actually looking at your conversion rate times your click-through rate.
Right.
So it's the most conversions from the impressions that you drive.
Yep.
It's just like a subtle difference, but I think it just shows that like that setting is pretty cool and it's doing things that you would do on your own. And so give it a chance. I know some people like really love manual testing, but you can also love manual testing while recognizing how difficult it is to achieve that.
Yep.
So just consider optimizing for clicks or conversions. I think it can be a lot of wins for you.
And a little bit on manual bidding. So for those that do want to manually bid, manual testing, and for those that want to manually test their ads, and we know there are certain use cases that absolutely make sense for your head terms, or there could be your real big heavy hitters in terms of volume and values. One thing just be mindful of is those are typically going to be on even ad rotation setting, and one pitfall we've seen advertisers fall into over and over again is forgetting when tests reach statistical significance. So if you're going to be manually testing on even rotation, make sure that you're staying on top of your tests and make sure that you're picking the winner and shutting off the losers in any given test so that you're not inadvertently continuing to cycle in underperforming ads on even rotation.
Yeah, and that's such a huge way to just increase performance. Just cut out the bad stuff and like, holy moly, what a new world you've created. What a new world we've created ourselves,
That's
Ben.
right.
We're at the end of our slides now. So thank you so much for joining today, Ben.
Yeah, it's great being here with you, Sean, and thank you all for joining us. Just one quick plug here. We have content on the topic we just discussed today here at this link below, and on other topics as well of regards to SEM best practices we hope you'll find useful.
Yeah, and if you have any questions about ads, ad testing, any of the stuff we talked about today, leave them in the comments of this video, and we'll try to get to them either in the written response or maybe even have a follow-up Q&A, depending on the response.
Definitely.
So start the revolution, guys. Then you get a second Q&A of us two.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks.
Take care.